Remember, there's a cause of the addiction and there's a vehicle. You're labeling the vehicle, not asking the cause. Until you fix the cause, the vehicle stays the same.
Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney with your solo episode. You've listened to the podcast, maybe you haven't, but you know my story. You know, 5 years sober as of 2 weeks and recording this, and my life has changed around. I was highly addicted to alcohol, even drugs in my beginning, and there's a lot of misconception about addiction, right? For my number one issue with people trying to help spouses or coworkers or anybody in their life that hasn't dealt with it is very hard for them to understand, how to get to that person or really why addiction exists in that person. And, they say things like, just quit. It's like, whatever, you can just stop. Like, I don't understand, and blah, 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 blah. And while I understand that they're just doing that because they love that person and they want to see them better, until you unpack the construct of addiction, and I'm not a trained doctor or scientific, I'm just going to tell you what I've seen through people and what I've seen through my own trials and tribulations. Addiction is a thing, and we in society label it as such. They're either addicted to alcohol, or they're addicted to Netflix, or they're addicted to their phone, or they're addicted to porn, all those things, right? And while, yes, that might be the case, and that's easy for you to kind of label, is that the actual addiction is rooted in something different, right? That's just the vehicle for the addiction. So there's the reason for the addiction, and then there's the vehicle for the addiction. So there's two totally separate things. And most people try to treat the vehicle for the addiction instead of understanding why the addiction exists. And most addicts, especially if they've been told to stop many times before, will fight that kind of process, right? They'll fight, don't tell me what to do, blah, 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 blah. And so because I've been there and I can talk to them person to person and I've had that experience, I don't tell them what to do, because first you got to gain their trust, because the problem is deeper than the vehicle, and you have to create a space where you can meet them at their level and get them to see things different, right? That's what we're after here. Addiction is not something that goes away just like that. It's something that takes work. It's something that always takes work. Most of the time, people that are addicted to something, alcohol, drugs, whatever, they just trade the addiction for something else, whether that be running, reading, whatever it is, working out, right? And that's a whole other conversation on the vein of like, hey, is addiction a bad thing? Well, I think a lot of people have an addictive personality. And so, if I could pick between drinking every day or running, 5 miles a day, I think I'm going to pick the running, right? You just choose one addiction for the other. But what you don't realize is that addiction is so much deeper than just on the surface, right? I correlated a couple different things to drinking, and they were just the way life was. If I went on vacation, if I celebrated something, and if I worked a hard day, right? And the problem is that it was guaranteed that, let's say I worked a 12-hour day, 16-hour day, I come home, I wouldn't have one drink, I'd have 3 drinks, but the third drink, I wouldn't even realize I poured the first 2, because it was just something I did. When I went on vacation, the first thing I did was drink on the plane. That's just what I did. Anytime I closed a deal or got some money that came in, we celebrated with booze. That was what I did. That was what my subconscious knew to do. And for me, that was the biggest issue in getting over, When I traveled for the first time for 10 days in Costa Rica without drinking, that's when I knew I had beat it. And I did everything I could because I was addicted. What you realize about it is like you're not even addicted to the alcohol. You're addicted to things that come along with the alcohol. What I mean by that is at the end, I drink vodka a lot because I'd given up on caring about the booze. So you just drink something that doesn't bother you that much that you can hide. But I drink vodka Topo Chicos. So when I stopped drinking, I was craving that soda. So I would drink like 6 Topo Chicos in a day. And that's just the truth. And that almost took me, God, almost took me 4. I stopped drinking 6 a day. I started getting down to like 2 and 1 a day. I could skip a day. And now I don't drink any. But it took me 4 years. And I still drink one and think about, oh my God, this is like me celebrating. Right. So that just shows you how much subconsciously that's in your body, right? And then you have to understand another thing, like salt, right? Like people that drink a lot love salt. So I used to eat, pardon me, trail mix all the time for the salt peanuts. Like I crave that like salt. So like I haven't even yet got to the type of booze I drink, how much I drink, and you're seeing how all these subconscious patterns show up in my life, right? And so when I meet people, I say things that only other people that struggle with it can know. And they're like signals like, hey, this guy's actually been through it. Right. I remember a story. It was an ice storm years ago in Austin. I get a phone call from a guy I had talked to in a long time. He's with his cousin and he goes, hey, he won't stop drinking. He wants to end his life. And he said, well, you talk to him. So I jump on the phone with them, and in the background, my buddy is saying like, hey man, just stop drinking. And I told him, I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like you haven't lived this. You don't know. While the guy that's drinking his face off is yelling at me, I'm not quitting. Fuck you, blah, 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 blah. So like I had to get his attention. And I said, look, dude, I'm not telling you to stop. I said, but could you have a glass of water in between drinks? So he has a glass of water in between drinks. Then I asked him about his son. Then I gave him some words about, I know where he's, and then he started calming down. And then we could have a conversation, right? When somebody is pushing back and they're saying, oh, no, just go talk to somebody. I don't understand. It doesn't work that way. I don't want to talk to some dude I've never met before who doesn't know what I'm talking about, who got his damn degree, in a classroom. I want to talk to somebody that's lived it, that's been drunk, hungover, blacked out, almost killed themselves. That's the guy I want to talk to. That's why I will never stop helping people break cycles that are subconsciously, some of them maybe generational, maybe years in the making. You have to understand where they're coming from, because you, by nature, have no idea why they're drinking, what they're drinking for, all these things. And so you have to ask the right questions in order to get the responses that mean anything. Look, for a long time when I got sober, I didn't talk about getting sober because I didn't go to 12 steps. And I thought that the only way to get sober was you had to go to 12 steps. I quit cold turkey. And I didn't think that that was possible, and I didn't want to make other people feel bad. And then I realized, like, hey, your story is your story. You got to share it, and if you inspire other people, that's great. But the issue I have with recovery, and look, if you got recovered, I'm down with that no matter what. But the issue I have with recovery is that it's a cesspool of negativity. And I don't believe that continually to recycle our past and our problems over and over and over and over again is the way to like positively recover. Right? You can recover any way you want. I'm just speaking from my own experience, so you can get mad at me all you want. I'm just giving you my feelings. I believe the way forward is to push yourself forward till you get strong enough to then deal with your past. I don't want to go to a therapist and sit there and talk about my past over and over and over again for the next 5 fucking years. I want to move on with my life. And when you get strong enough to see it for what it is, and you have self-awareness around the reason that you were drinking in the first place, then I can deal with the past. Then I can create what's what. That's just my experience. And it's helped a lot of people in my line of work, coaching people and supporting people get sober as well too. And each person's journey is their own. And no one is the same. And so I share this. If you have somebody, or it's you personally, or you have somebody in your life, maybe this gives you a different perspective of why they're addicted. Remember, there's a cause of the addiction and there's a vehicle. You're labeling the vehicle, not asking the cause. Until you fix the cause, the vehicle stays the same. If you as a person identify as an alcoholic and you stay sober for 30 days, you can still go back to being an alcoholic. But if you tell yourself and you write down and you affirmate yourself that I am no longer a person who needs the support of alcohol, and you say that to yourself long enough, then you will shed the label and you will no longer associate the identity with an alcoholic. I really hope that I've opened some eyes and some ears and different viewpoints on addiction. I don't talk about this as much anymore, but it's always a part of who I am, and I hope people got some value from this. We'll see you next time. Send it to somebody that could enjoy listening to this, and I hope you have a great day. Guys, let me take a minute to tell you about my buddies over at Lead Hub, Ben and Aaron, the best humans I know. Not only are they amazing at marketing for trade companies, but Ben started his HVAC company in his garage, sold it for multi-million dollars. So when this guy talks, I listen. When we took over Dietz Mechanical, we had 22 reviews in 22 years. In 7 short months, we went from 22 reviews to 107. We went from a 4.2 to a 4.7. We tripled our Facebook presence and we tripled our calls. If you're an HVAC, plumbing, electric, landscaping company, and you're looking for a no BS approach to marketing, you're looking for people who have done it before, you got to go to leadhub.net